Hello, my name is Caleb Hoffman, and I've been going to the church in B.S.E for about 6 years now. I'm 26 years old, and I'm originally from the United States. Basically, I'm from America. I'm from a place called Kansas City, Missouri. The nickname of that region is called the Bible Belt. So, I grew up with a kind of a knowledge of Jesus, but I didn't know him personally. And growing up, I was not into drugs or alcohol. My family was my family was good. I had parents that cared about me and raised me well. And I was just a normal kid, just an average kid. I wanted friends growing up. I wanted to be accepted. Just kind of the normal, what anyone would want. We went to church, not every week, but we did go probably, at least on Easter and Christmas and the big, times to go. We'd go kind of sparingly throughout the year. And growing up, my thoughts on Christianity and God and everything was, I believed that just by going to church, that's what made you right with God. Like, that's what made you okay, that's what makes you a Christian, is by going to church. And so, with that kind of thought, with that belief, I didn't come to that belief one day. I didn't just wake up and think that. It was kind of gradually over time I started to, that's just what I believed in. And so what that practically meant for me was I started to think that I could live however I wanted to, but as long as I made it to church, then I'd be okay. So obviously growing up, graduated high school, I ended up joining the military. Got stationed in England, that's how I made it over here at Lake and East. And when you first get, I was 19 at the time, and the drinking age is 18 over here, and in the States it's 21. So as soon as I got over here, I never had a drinking problem. I didn't really drink in the States, but as soon as I got over here, I felt like, man, I gotta take advantage of this. I have to rub it in my friends' faces because I can drink legally and they can't. So I started to get into drinking and stuff. Again, that was kind of off the back of me wanting to fit in, and the people that I was surrounded by in the military at the time, they were all people that went out and partied and drank. So I kind of just wanted to fit in, and so more or less I was a people pleaser. I wanted to fit in with people, so I would do what everyone else wanted to do, because I just wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be left out of things. I wanted to have friends, especially coming over here. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any family over here, so yeah. So I definitely kind of got sucked into peer pressure, and I think that's a normal thing people do all the time. But that was more or less my life. I wouldn't say I had a bad life. Like I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't homeless. I had a good job. I was living on base at the time, and it was a decent lifestyle, a decent life. But for me, I always felt like there was something missing. And even though I had all these things in my life, I still felt like, when I joined the military, I thought that was going to be what fulfilled me, that was going to be everything I needed. But long story short, it wasn't. It really all started with a leaflet. And so I was in town one day on a Saturday with my friends, and we were just walking around, and we saw people handing out leaflets, and I thought they were handing out coupons for Burger King, so I took one. And it was a leaflet for church services. And I thought, oh, interesting, okay. So I folded it up and put it in my wallet, because again, in my mind, I thought that because of that belief that I had of going to church is what makes you right. I felt like, oh man, I haven't been to church in a while, and I'm starting to feel bad about the things that I'm doing because I know that they're not right. So I figured I'll check out church. I haven't been in a while, and I'll just go. And then after I go, I'll feel better about my life. I guess I'll feel better about what I'm doing. And so yeah, it all started with a leaflet, and I didn't go immediately, but it was in my wallet for about a month, and then I pulled it out when I was cleaning out my wallet, all of my receipts and junk that was in my wallet. And I decided to go and to see what it was all about. And I actually went for a while, but then the preacher preached a sermon, and I don't even remember what it was about, but at the very end he was talking about sin. And you know how with sin, I always chalked it up to being a religious word, and I never really thought about it that much. I just thought, okay, sin is just a religious word, and I didn't really think about it too much. But when he's talking about sin, it started to click. All the things that I was doing in my life, that's sin. Sin is really just the things that we do in our life that don't meet God's standard of what He says how we should be living. And so when He explained that to me, and He explained that everyone has sinned, because in the Bible it says that, you know, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and how that with sin, if we die in our sin, that we'll go to hell. And I was like, man, that was the first time it really hit me that, man, the way I'm living is not right, and I need to get right, because life is so temporary and it's short. And so yeah, it hit me then that I need to get right. And the thing about it is, the only way we can get right is through Jesus. You know, there's nothing we can do in our own ability to be cleansed of sin. And so it's only through having a personal relationship with Jesus, more than a head knowledge of Jesus, more than just knowing that. Because when I was a kid, I knew that I'd heard that Jesus died for your sins, but I never really understood. I never really got it. Well, first of all, he's given me a different perspective on life. A lot of people think, myself included, I used to think that, you know, life is all about having a family, having kids, raising kids, having a job, a career, retire, go on a cruise maybe, I don't know, and then die. So I used to think of life just being kind of events that add up, and then at the end, you know, you die, and that's it. So he's given me a new perspective on life, and how, and all those things are great, but it's all temporary stuff. And so he's given me an eternal perspective on life, and how the decisions that we make now actually decide where we go in the future, where our souls end up in eternity, either heaven or hell. The biggest thing that God has given me, the biggest thing He's given me in my life is an assurance of where I'm going to be in eternity. I think that's the biggest thing. Other than that, like, obviously, God has blessed me in my life. He's given me a wife. I'm married. That's awesome. I'm actually out of the military now, and so His hand has been on my life and these different circumstances that come up. You know, being a Christian is not, you know, it doesn't mean that your life is automatically easy and every decision is made for you and everything's just smooth sailing for the rest of your life. You know, there's still ups and downs. There's still trials that you face. There's things that I've gone through, that my wife and I have gone through. And there are difficult times. There's good times as well, obviously. There's ups and downs. But to know that God is with you, it's really reassuring. And so for me, it's just comforting to know that I don't have to go through life on my own. Because if, you know, and there's people out there that you feel like you're all alone going through life, but it doesn't have to be that way, because, you know, God is there. You know, He is real. He exists. And yeah, so sorry for the long-windedness. It's just, yeah, I ramble a lot.